I've got Asheebo Rojas from the Chatham News and Record. We're running, we had to go today instead of yesterday because of scheduling conflicts. Also, the paper now comes out, the Chatham News and Record now comes out on Thursday. So here's the rundown of what we've got in this week's roundup. Again, what stories Asheebo has coming up in the newspaper today. Last week's scores and results. The new C4th AD, if you haven't heard about him, it's Jared Worley. Asheebo had an opportunity to interview and talk with him. Also, we've got a new C4th varsity basketball coach, John Berry. He had his meet and greet. We will probably have Coach Berry with us next Wednesday. Of course, one of everyone's favorite, the athlete of the week. And then let's talk about what Chatham County teams are left in the state playoffs. So, again, this is pretty much going to be a Asheebo Rojas show. Let me hide there we go. And let me do this.
All right. So for stories coming out in the paper this week in the Chatham News and Record, first we'll have a longer feature on Coach Berry and kind of his preparation into how he's taking on this C4 basketball job. We're looking at, kind of his background and, his approach, kind of how he's gotten started already with the open gym sessions and what he's kind of wanted to see out of those kids and what he's wanted to see out of himself, because the main thing is he's putting the most pressure on himself for this job and wanting to do the best he can for the program. Then we also have a game story from Woods Charter and Northmore girls soccer last week. Woods Charter won that game 5-2 and to advance to the third round of the state playoffs. And we'll talk a little bit more about Woods Charter soccer as we get into last week's scores and results. And then we also have our usual roundup with, of course, the scores and results from last week. And then alongside of that, we have a story from the track and field championships that happened last weekend on Friday and then on Monday for 1A. And we had a couple of athletes win track and field state championships there, and we'll get into that actually right now as we talk about last week's scores and results. So in the 2A track and field track meet at North Carolina A&T on Friday, we had three athletes between Seaforth and Northwood win state championships. Jack Anstrom, he won the boys 1600 meter run with a time of 4 minutes and 24.23 seconds, and the 3200 meter run with a time of 9 minutes and 30 seconds. So those add on to 5 in his bag for his career between cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track. He won the 22 and 2023 2A cross country titles and the 2024 1A 2A indoor 3200 meter run title. So congrats to Jack Anstrom from Seaford on that achievement from the weekend. And then Seaford also had another boys title from Will Quickie, who won the 2A boys 800 meter run championship with a time of 1 minute and 53 seconds. And that was his third straight title in his career after he won the 2023 and 2024 1A 2A indoor 1,000 meter runs. And I think for the 800 meter dash from Friday, that was his personal best time. So another big shout out to Will Quickie and Seaford. And as a team, the Seaford boys finished third place in the 2A team results for that one. And I'll get into more of the other team results after I shout out Lenny Babo from Northwood, who won the 2A girls pole vault state title with a successful vault of 11 feet. Well, she actually clinched it with a 10-foot vault, but she was going for even higher than that. She was trying to reach her goal of 12 feet and bit past her PR of 11 feet 6 inches, but she was only able to clear 11 feet at the state meet, which was I think 2 feet ahead of the next person in second place. So congrats to Laney on a big win there. And also too, I mean, Will and Jack were way ahead in their races as well. So just, great performances from Chatham County's athletes there. And other notable performances from the meets, we had in the 1A, Chatham Charter senior Lucas Smith finished second in the 1A boys 100 meter dash with a time of 11 seconds. And then he finished third in the 200 meter dash with a time of 21.8 seconds, and second in the 400 meter dash with a time of 47.8 seconds. So he almost came close to multiple state titles in the 1A meet, but just couldn't get there. But Lucas Smith had a great career in track and field. Definitely one of the fastest guys we had in the county during his time here as a sprinter. So congrats to Lucas Smith on a great career. And for Seaforth, we had they had sophomore Ryan Yoder finish second in the 2A boys pole vault finals with a mark of 12 feet and 6 inches. And then Northwood Junior Julia Hall ran a 5-minute, 22-second 1,600-meter run to earn third place in the 2A girls 1,600-meter run finals. So a lot of athletes that came close over top three in second place for a state title, but we're just short of it. But then again, still a great meet for Chatham County's athletes. For the 2A team results, like I said, Seaforth's boys finished third, Northwood's boys finished 46th. And then in the girls for 2A, we had Northwood's girls finishing the highest at 12th place, and Seaforth's girls finishing at 30th. And Jordan Matthews also has some girls out there competing, and they finished 40th as a team. And then on the 1A side, we had Chatham Charters boys finishing 8th, Woods Charters boys coming in at 41st. And then on the 1A girls side, Chatham Charters girls came in at 29th, and Woods Charters girls came in at 36th. So, like I said, great showing from the county at the track and field meets over the weekend for Monday and Friday. And then also we had the continuation of playoffs from softball, girls soccer, softball and girls soccer from last week. And starting with softball, fortunately, we don't have any more Chatham County teams in the softball playoffs after last week because number 7, Jordan Matthews, they lost in the 4th round in the 2A state playoffs to number 3 Midway, 8-3. And in that one, they kind of got down. Jordan Matthews kind of got down early in the early hole. I think they were down 4-0 after the first inning. And then by the 3rd inning, the Raiders were up 8-0. And Jordan Matthews didn't really score until the 4th inning. And they tried to rally back, but it just wasn't enough. And they ended up losing that one, like I said, 8-3. But before that one in the 3rd round, they had upset number 2 Roanoke Rapids going on the road there. And they were tied at 1 run apiece from the 1st inning to the top of the 6th. And then Roanoke Rapids took a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 6th inning, but Jordan Matthews, like they've done multiple times this season, was coming back. They did it against Broadley Yancey. They did it, I think, also too in the Mid Carolina 1A 2A conference tournament. Just multiple times throughout the year, they came back and took an 8-2 lead at the top of the 7th inning, and then they held on to win that one. So great season for the Jets softball team, the co-champions of the Mid Carolina 1A 2A conference championship. Of the Mid Carolina 1A 2A conference. So finished the season 20-5 overall, which was their most wins in one season since 2016, if you include the playoffs. And then in girls soccer, we had Seaforth and Woods Charter. Once again, they're still going. Who both of them will play tonight, and we'll get into that later on. But number 4, Seaforth, they're just continuing to shut out teams, just completely dominate them on the pitch there. They beat number 5 East Duplin 7-0 in the 4th round. In the 3rd round of the 2A state playoffs on Monday. In that one, Sophia Viana made her 100th career goal. And then in the 2nd round on Thursday before that one, they had beat number 20 Bedingfield 10-0. And in that one, that was just a first half performance. No need for a second half in that one. And in that one, junior Caitlin Ehrman, she led the team with 5 goals. Viana poured in 3 goals and also assisted on team high of 4 goals. And then the other 2 scores came from sophomores Carson Ward and Luisa Olmos. And then for number 14, Northwood was also in the 2A state playoffs. They lost in the 2nd round to number 3 Roanoke Rapids on Thursday. So they ended their season with a 13-9 overall record, which is their most wins, including playoffs, since 2019. And they also that year they also won 16 games and made it to the 3rd round of the playoffs as well. So congrats on a great season from Northwood to have one of their best seasons in a couple of years. Really fortunate for the Chargers there, but unfortunately their season came to an end on Thursday. But we also had Woods Charter down in the 1A tournament, continuing just like Seaforth. The number 2 team, like we said, they beat Northmore 5-2. But before that, in the 3rd round, after that, in the 3rd round, they beat number 10 Eastwick Academy on Monday 5-1. And then, like I said, tonight we'll have soccer from Seaforth and Woods Charter. Number 4 Seaforth is going to number 1 Franklin Academy. And then we'll have Woods Charter hosting number 6 East Bladen on the 1A side. And then, Gene, did you have anything to say about track or soccer?
Well, I was going to say on the soccer, you and I have seen both teams, Seaforth and Woods, doing well. I think both of us are not surprised that they've gotten this far. I think Seaforth on the first two games did especially well in that they were able to shut down both their opponents in the first half, and you have the mercy rule that goes into effect, so they didn't have to play a second half. Woods got to do that in the first half, but they did play Northmore in that second game, and they actually started off the game, I think, down 1-0, then tied it up at the 23-minute mark of the first half, and then just took the lead and finished winning that one off at 5-2. Now, the interesting thing is Seaforth's playing tonight, but they're playing away over at Wake Forest. That's a short ride for anybody who wants to go. It's not a bad ride. Go watch the game, and then afterwards on the way home, you can stop off and grab something to eat. Woods gets to play at home again on Thursday. I think, again, both games will be challenging for both teams. Again, Woods is in a better position simply because they're going to be playing at home. They do have a strong team. You did an interview with the Woods players after a game, and that's on Twitter, so folks can take a look at that. I noticed in the Northmore game, Northmore was pretty aggressive on putting on the press when Woods was trying to come into scoring range, but again, Woods just turned out to be a stronger team. Coach Stewart told him after the game, "Hey, you just need to keep playing the way we've been playing," and they managed to get into the championship game last year. So I'm hoping that they get to make it to the championship game this year. I'm also hoping that Seaforth gets to make it into the championship game. I think from what you and I have seen on Voyager, Voyager is going to be a tough battle. Would I predict a winner in that game? I'm afraid not. Woods, again, I'm not going to predict, but I think Woods has a slight advantage in that they are playing at their home field, and that does, and I feel that does count for a whole bunch of stuff. So, from a scoring perspective, from last week, again, pick up the paper today, take a look at what Asheebo's written up on it, and as Asheebo mentioned, he's got an article up on Coach Berry. Coach Berry joined us last. This year during the high school basketball season, was one of our crew and had a lot of input. We were hoping to get Coach Berry on, couldn't do it because of his schedule today, but we will hopefully have him on next Wednesday. As Asheebo mentioned, he did have his meet and greet and open practice on Monday. I think at that one he had 22 students show up, and he's saying he wouldn't be surprised if they've got 40 to 60 folks show up and try out for the team. I will say, based upon what I saw on Monday, if you're a Seaforth student who wants to be playing JV or varsity basketball, you probably want to go to some of those open practices. It's an opportunity for the coaches to see your abilities and also make suggestions to you as how you can improve during the summer season. Summer's an opportunity these days to be able to get better skill at what you can do sports wise, and also if you need to do a little weight training as well. You also had an opportunity to talk with Jared Worley, who's the new athletic director at Seaforth. You can provide a little bit more information. We not only Asheebo did a nice interview with him. We also got Coach Bill Hall, who was Jared's coach back when he was at Northwood. So we've got Dalton back as football coach at Northwood, and we now have Dalton back. Dalton. We have Jared back. Dalton at Northwood, Jared at Seaforth. So Coach Hall, for those of you who know Coach Hall for years, he's happy to see a couple of local guys come back, and he's also hoping that when it comes to assistant coaches, they'll be able to pick out local folks. And again, Coach Berry's lived, I think he's lived in this county for over two dozen years. So he's another local person that's familiar with a lot of the players that are at Seaforth, and also a lot of the JV, a lot of the parents, simply because he was a JV coach a few years ago when the school first started out. So that's all I've got to add. What else do you have? We still need to talk about. Let's see. You talked about Coach Berry. I guess we need to talk about Jared. Then you got your athlete of the week and some of the other things that you were going to touch on.
Yeah, I was actually going to build off of what you said about soccer. I think we will see both of our teams get a little challenge a little bit more tonight as they play. Here in the fourth round with a regional appearance on the line. I think East Bladen will challenge Woods Charter a little bit just because Woods Charter is missing some key players. And if they are able to get those key players back, then I like you said, I think Woods Charter will be fine, given that they'll have home field advantage. And they found a way to win. Kind of the latter end of their season into the playoffs without some key pieces. So I think just depending on kind of what they have and what East Bladen gives them, it just depends on what we'll see from Woods Charter tonight, because we know Northmore came in and made it a little tougher early on in that game with their physicality. And but the girls have stepped in for Woods Charter. I mean, they've seen that before. It's nothing that they're not used to. And like Coach Stewart said, I mean, they're doing a good job of keeping them prepared and really filling those gaps where they need it.
Yeah, I think you made a very good point that I missed, because if we took a picture at the end of that game, and I think there were actually 2 or 3 girls that were in crutches, and there were a couple girls that were icing down. So I think the injury component may be a factor in tonight's game, but it is something you picked up, and I think again it may be a factor in tonight's game. Your feelings on Seaforth?
Yeah, same thing. I think Seaford is kind of meeting a team that's a little bit like them a little bit. That's been dominant the latter part of the season. They come away with a lot of shutouts, so a really good defensive team. I think the key in this one is just going to be defense, and who can limit each other the most. And I think with Seaford, they do have the offense to challenge Franklin Academy's defense as well with Viana and Ermin. I think that they're really able to just do what they do and get behind defenses with speed and just great communication, because that's the one thing Coach Viana talked about. The team is just so in sync with each other. They know exactly what they're going to do. They're really good at communicating on the field as to where to go and what sets they run. So I think Seaforth will get challenged a little bit. I don't think we'll see another 7-0, 8-0 shutout in this one. Because we saw when Seaford played, some competition a little bit against Woods Charter, even though that was 4-0, it was still kind of a hard fought 4-0. It's just that Seaford's defense is just that good, and I think we'll see a low scoring, match tonight. I'm thinking maybe, 2-1, 3-2, 3-1 type of score. But I think Seaford, the only thing is, they are traveling. So that will be, to their disadvantage. But I wouldn't put it past C4 to pull off the upset here. Well, by seeding upset in advance to the regional finals.
I definitely agree with you. I think Seaforth and the thing about Seaforth and both Woods is they play well as a team. They talk to each other when they're out in the field. And I think the games that we've seen, both Seaforth and Woods have individual strong players, but what makes them so good is they actually play as a team. So when the other opposing team doubles up on their strong players, whether it's Seaforth or Woods, they've got other options. I think the one game that we were at Seaforth, had 2 players both score the highest amount of goals that they've ever had in the season. So, and it wasn't just one player; it was multiple players, and you've got everybody playing there as a team, and they're constantly talking to each other and telling each other where to be for the individual handoffs, and they don't have a tendency to group together. I mean, they're both. I'm hoping both teams win tonight. I hope they get to play again early next week. I think those for both Woods and Seaforth will be challenging games, and I would love to see both Chatham County girls soccer teams make it to the championship game down in Charlotte next weekend. So, rah rah! Look, when it comes to the local Chatham County teams, I hope they all do well, and especially the way those girls are playing right now. Let's get it done. So I'm going to stop rambling. All right, what's up next?
And I just want to get into athlete of the week too. And athlete of the week this week is Lanny Babo from Northwoods girls track team. Of course, we talked about her winning the 2A girls pole vault state title over the weekend. And just, I mean, this is her first, I think it's her first outdoor state title, but she recently won the 2024 1A 2A indoor girls pole vault in February, clearing 10 feet 6 inches in that competition. And she was Northwood's only state champion from the track and field outdoor championship. So congrats to Lainey. I went over and watched her and Claire go at it a little bit for the two-way girls competition. And Lainey, like I said, she was just way above, everybody else in the competition as far as what she can do. So, she tried to even, compete against herself a little bit, which I thought was pretty cool. And Coach Eisenhower was actually out there recording her scores. So I think it was really fitting to have him out there, who as he used to be the Northwood cross country and track and field coach. And I think he's told me he was coaching at Brevard now. So
yes,
that's what he's doing.
he's moved up to the college ranks. And the interesting thing is, last night at the Chatham County Ag Center, Northwood had their Charlie Awards, and that's an award that's presented. There's multiple awards, but one set of awards is presented by coaches, and the other set of awards is actually voted on by the students in the school. And the presenters and the award presenters were the student athletes, which was neat. I grabbed a couple pictures. We'll have some of those up later. But you were talking about the athlete of the week. The interesting thing is, as you mentioned, Coach Eisenhower took that college position at Brevard, and congratulations to him. But he left. It's interesting when it comes to pole vaulting. The new coach came in, and last night she goes, I admit I did not know much about pole vaulting. She actually said it scared her a little bit because you're jumping so high up and then coming down. But she's like, you know what? Our pole vaulter, she did a lot of that on her own because the coach did not have the knowledge that Coach Eisenhower did. And I will say Coach Eisenhower last year pulled, and in fact, Northwood was able to purchase some new pole vault equipment because the old equipment had gotten so old that it was actually not safe to use. So Coach Eisenhower, I forget how much it was, several thousand. I think it may have been over $10,000 to upgrade the equipment to where the students could actually use it. And look, you got a championship out of it. So Coach Eisenhower, give a shout out to you. I know you still follow what's going on in Chatham County, although you moved up into the college ranks. And it is great when we see our Chatham County high school students doing well. And I think, as Asheebo said, one of the other things we got a feedback from last week, Jared Worley, who hasn't been in Chatham County until just recently, has been following the newspaper, reading Asheebo's columns, watching the live stream. And he's got two favorite things that Asheebo does. One is the athlete of the week, and the other one is power rankings. So I guess Asheebo has no choice but to keep doing the athlete of the week. And then once the season resumes in the fall, go ahead and do the power rankings. Yeah, because you know what, folks enjoy that kind of stuff, and it gives visibility to this. And as I've said before, Asheebo with his Twitter X account is out there doing video interviews after the games, and the student athletes are enjoying it. I know their fans, their friends, and their families like to see that. So Asheebo's doing a great job getting the information out as to how well our student athletes here in Chatham County are doing. Let me ask you this. You got to talk to Jared for about 20 minutes, and actually we got to talk to him and Coach Hall for about an hour and a half, I think. Overall, what was your impression of it? And you got that article out in today's paper, or is that coming out next week?
Actually, yeah. So the question and answer with Coach Worley is going to come out. My editors have held it over to the next week, so it'll be for next week. But yeah,
can you give people a little bit of hint as to what your impressions of that conversation were like?
Yeah, and when I sat down with Coach Worley, just really want to kind of get to know him a little bit more. Just introduce him as who he is and what he's about and how he's really approaching this job. And, he's coming in with a lot of experience in strength and conditioning. He had some time with Duke's sports performance program this past spring. And also he spent some time in high school athletic administration in Northern Virginia at Flint Hill High School. So, I think he was working in strength and conditioning there as well. So, he's coming in with quite a lot of experience for as young as he is. He's only a recent Carolina grad in 2018, that's correct. Yep. Yeah. And he still knows a lot of people in the community because he only graduated from Northwood in 2015. So, he shared a story about how he even got the opportunity running into Officer Stubbs at was it Lowe's? I think was at
Lowe's and
Lowe's.
Lowe's. Yep.
He told him about Coach Amy stepping down, and basically kind of like Dalton Brown at Northwood. He applied immediately, and now I mean here we are. So we go into a little bit about his personal life. Gene asked him about kind of how it's been just getting married, moving back down to Chatham County, and we got into just some of his time at UNC as well. Because I mentioned to him, he was part of that 2015 ACC championship game, and he worked his way up as a walk on from freshman year 2015 to senior year 2018, getting on the field as for special teams for that. So a really deep conversation with me, Gene, Coach Wardley, and then Coach Hall joined us as well, and we touched on a lot of things just from Northwood history, their memories, to kind of how the high school, college recruitment thing. We talked a lot about just sports, high school sports, and kind of the administrative side as well that Worley is getting into.
Well, you asked him some interesting questions. Like you asked him what was his favorite movie was.
Oh yeah.
I think he finally decided it was Gladiator. And then the other thing is, folks, you need to be aware of this. The discussion that we had with Jared and Coach Bill Hall also had to do with middle school football. And that conversation came up, and I think Asheebo's planning to be working on something over the summertime that you might see later on, either in the summer or in the fall, as to what it means not having middle school football here in Chatham County and what it may take to get that changed. There was an effort that was made that apparently had failed. But again, I think once Asheebo gets all his information out and puts it together, you may not be able to put that all in one article. It may have to be a two-parter or three-parter type of thing, because there's so many different elements and parts involved with that. So.
Yeah, Coach Hell, he talked about it. For him, he said it's been a battle since 1989.
Yep.
Since he's been here. So and a lot of coaches, they've talked to me about it and how it's a big thing, because it's that time from 6th grade to 8th grade is so crucial in football development. If you're not playing at that time and everyone else in the state are, they're coming in up to speed in the high school level. Well, compared to Chatham County, coaches are saying, hey, we're teaching kids the basics, like the 3-point stance, and basically starting from scratch in high school, which kind of puts you behind a little bit. But definitely wanted to dive into that and just gather some more perspectives on it over the summer as the football season kicks back up. And I know we had high school teams hitting the field the past couple of weeks for spring ball. Chatham Central, Seaforth. I know not every team had the numbers to do full spring, but they had workouts, installing some things. So yeah, football is right after the spring season, we're back in the fall to build up for that. And also too, over the summer, I do plan on doing some coverage with the American Legion, Chatham County's American Legion baseball team that's getting started this weekend. I think on the 25th is their first game. So plenty of stuff to still cover as the summer comes up and spring season ends.
Yeah, I think the Siler area Chamber of Commerce is doing some kind of baseball night where I think the American Legion Chatham County team will be playing the Durham County team. So that's also coming up. So yeah, things are going to slow down in high school, but there are going to be other things going on. All right, let's get her wrapped up. Anything else, Asheebo?
No, the only thing is, like you said, I'll be at Franklin Academy tonight for the Seaforth game. So if you guys see me out there, don't hesitate to say hello. And should things work out for Seaforth, we'll have all the interview coverage and good things coming out of that one tonight.
Yeah, and just a reminder, you can see down at the bottom of the screen, Asheebo's Twitter account is AsheeboR38. Go ahead and follow him. I'm sure that after the game, he'll get an interview with the coach and players. So it's definitely worthwhile. If you can't make it out to Wake Forest, just follow Asheebo there. And I'm actually I'm going to be tied up today, so I'm not going to be doing either one of the games. But folks, we'll see you back here next Wednesday. Hopefully, we will have Coach Berry on with us. We'll see where the girls' soccer team is, both from Woods and from Seaforth, and hopefully they will still be playing come next week. All right, folks, that's it. Asheebo, as always, thanks for being on. Folks, thank you for watching. Actually, last week we had over 600 folks watching us. So, hey, we consistently get over 500, but we've gotten up as much as 1,000 folks, and it was nice to have over 600. And right now, I'm seeing there's 22 of you watching us right now. So, hey, thank you for being on. If you are watching us right now, find the stuff Asheebo's. There we go. Asheebo's talking about. There we go. Uh, go ahead and recommend to your family and friends. We've got it here live stream. It gets saved on the Chatham Journal Facebook page, and it's also on the Twitter account, so you can see that out there. We get about close to 100 folks watching it there, and it's also on YouTube. All right, folks, have a fantastic week. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, or is it Labor Day weekend? It's Memorial Day weekend. That's right. I apologize. All right, I need to get all set, folks. Thank you for watching. Asheebo, we'll see you next Wednesday.